Okay, well, this is Wolfville, Nova Scotia in Canada. There's the sign just coming down into the valley right here. I always love this view. There's Blomidon in the background there, and we're just coming down into the Annapolis Valley. And we're approaching those double bridges over the Gaspereau River, which will be coming up here right away. I went to school here many years ago, and this is a very comfortable place for me to be. And so we're just approaching exit 10 here, coming up on the right. It always seemed to me that when I came into exit 10 and came up over this rise, I was getting home. Just a wonderful place to be. Wolfville is in the Annapolis Valley, which is an agricultural area of Nova Scotia. And on the right here there's a new coffee place, or it's new to me anyways. There's a coffee museum in there as well, I think. A little market as well. And up on the right here is the Tangled Garden, I think it's called. And it looks interesting to me. I always thought I should stop in and see what they do, but one day I will. It looks very interesting. And here's some of the farms that you see on the way into Wolfville from exit 10. And up and around the corner here we'll get to the main part of the town. And so here's the town signs announcing the town boundaries, I suppose. There's a new seniors development on the right there. And just here is Roselawn Cottages. I know a girl lived in there one time. I think her name was Ainsley. I don't remember her last name. And went to Acadia with me. There's a lot of fancy houses in Wolfville. It's always been a fairly affluent place, so there's a lot of nice architecture and beautiful old houses. I think right here on the left somewhere is Kenny's Farm Market. There's a lot of farm markets because the Annapolis Valley produces a lot of produce. And so there's a lot of beautiful old houses here. And here we're just getting down into the main part of the town. I suppose we're coming to the low part of Main Street. So hopefully you see your house if you live in Wolfville. Just here on the left is the Blomidon Inn, a very fancy old Victorian mansion that you can stay in if you'd like to, and they have a restaurant as well. I've been in there, it's very nice. And just up here's a little garden on the left-hand side. Somewhere here. A lot of the fancy old houses have been converted into bed and breakfasts or apartments, that kind of thing. And so this is the main part of the town, I suppose. Just here on the left is one of the old churches, a nice old church. One of my roommates, Al, got married in there. And there's a lot of little shops here that weren't here when I went to school here. There's the fire hall on the left, and a new Tim Hortons. That's kind of nice. I wish that was there when I went to school here. There's the anvil down there, right there. The old garage is closed now, the one on the left. Or I think it is. Louie's Pizza used to be in here somewhere. I don't remember just where it was, but. And on the left there's the post office. Back in the day we used to actually mail letters there. Oh, and there's the Royal Bank on the left, and the grocery store, and the clothing store where you could buy Acadia, apparel. On the right there. And there's the Acadia Theatre. That's the cinema. And the market, where you could buy all kinds of neat, weird, and wonderful things. There's the old pharmacy. And this church up on the left used to ring the bell on the hour every hour, and I think on the quarter hour as well, and it still does. It was a very relaxing sound, as I recall. And this used to be the governor's mansion when I went to school here, but now I think it's converted into the alumni office for Acadia. Back in the day, you used to go to school functions there, like Smarty parties and stuff like that. So this is the main entrance into Acadia. Most people don't use this entrance, but there's the library on the left, and I suppose up in the back is the chapel, and in behind that is the seminary house, which is a residence. And this is the main administrative building for Acadia University. It's called U Hall, or University Hall. Quite a stately old building. There's a lot of beautiful old trees on the lawn, and people lay around on the lawn and have picnics or read books or do whatever they need to do. It's quite relaxing here. And that's Huggins Science Hall. That's where almost all my classes were when I went to school here. I got a degree in geology from Acadia, and now I teach geology. And that is the master's students, I think, used to live in that residence right there on the right. And just past that is the old biology building. And I don't know, I think it's still biology, but it might not be. And on the left here, I think that's Willett House. My cousins lived there when I was here. And here on the right is it's a new building donated by the Irvings, and it's for biology or ecology studies, I think. It's a beautiful building. Here are some new residences that were built around Eaton and Chipman House, and I don't know what they're called, but they're new since I was there. And Cotton House, I think, has been closed down for a few years and being renovated. I'm not sure, maybe it's going to be open this year. And so this is going down the back side. I suppose that's the biology building, the back from the back. And this is War Memorial House, which is where I lived for several years. And we used to always call it barracks. And back in those days, it was a pretty wild place. Now I think it's co-ed. Can you imagine? And that's Huggins and the faculty lounge right there. And just some nice old houses in behind the campus. So this is Main Street again. Off on our right is where the athletic building is, where the gym is. And so that's the gym. There's 2 swimming pools in there, or there used to be anyways. There's every facility you could possibly imagine. There was quite an emphasis on athletics here when I was here. Football was very big, and basketball was very big, hockey as well. And it was a lot of fun going to all the sports activities. There's the Anvil. The Anvil doesn't look like it's doing all that well anymore, but anyways, a lot of fun was had there. Those are new condominiums that are built down sort of on the waterfront on the opposite side of the tracks from the Anvil. They're kind of neat looking. I don't know if they're all occupied. It doesn't really look like they are. There's a lot of nice little shops and restaurants and stuff like that down here. There's the liquor store on the right, and off in here is the train station. When I went to school here, I used to take the train, and so you'd get on the train, back home, and you'd get off the train in Wolfville. And I suppose you could take the train home too on weekends. Anyways, and you went down to the train station to catch the train. It was kind of a nice way to travel. And there's some nice little shops down in here and cafes and stuff like that. And this is coming up towards the church again. The church that rings the bells on the hour. And so now we're going to sort of out of the town, I suppose, towards Henniger's. Past the gym, which was on the right. There's a lot of fancy old houses here, and several of them have been built into bed and breakfasts. Remember the Tatting Stone, I think, maybe that's this one here, and the Victoria Inn, both of which were very fancy buildings. And I think I was in the Victoria Inn, but I always wanted to go into Tatting Stone and see what it was like. One of my professors owned one of these houses down here. It's a red one. There's one of the oldest buildings in Wolfville. That one right there. And that was a while ago, and he was old at the time. I'm not sure if he's still with us. Anyways, a Landmark School is just up here on the right somewhere. And that's a private school. And there are some fancy new houses that have been built up in there. There's Landmark right there, Landmark East I think it's called. And this is coming up to Sterling's, which this is the original Sterling family farm right here, I think. And this is where Sterling's apples all originate. Big farm. I picked apples in there. In the orchard. And this is going down the hill towards Henniger's. If you went here or live here, you know about Henniger's. Good place for apples or ice cream, or I suppose there's a fish and chip shed right there. And that's coming out of the valley and heading towards New Minas now. Well, that's it. Bye for now.